Hey everybody, today we're going to be going over the top army bases. These are bases that you are going to want to equip. The holding value doesn't have a lot to do with the decisions made here, but it does have some. But these are for equipping purposes and for attack and defense. So with that, let's jump into this countdown with number 5. Base number 5 is the Shadow Dragon base. This one is on this list for several reasons. One of the biggest reasons is this is what I would call probably the best beginner base that you guys could choose right now. It is universal, so you can see all unit attack plus 35% for equipping it, and then plus 10% army HP bonus. And the big thing for this is the march size, and then the skill that you get 3 minutes of 30% damage increase. So yeah, you can only use that twice a day, so every 12 hours, it's on a 12-hour cooldown, but this base does help everybody. And I want to repeat that this works for Navy and Air Force, even though this is an Army video. This is a Army base because of that HP bonus, but it does work for everybody, and this base is very, very well-rounded, and it should be a must-have in everybody's arsenal. So with that, let's jump into number 4. Base number 4 is the Sizzling Factory. The Sizzling Factory is a very, very solid base, and it is very much geared towards Army. It also gives you a +1 march size for holding, and it does have a 20% all unit attack bonus for holding it. That is very unusual for bases. Most of them are split 10% attack, 10% HP. And then the equipping part of this is 20% attack and HP bonuses, which is very large for most bases, and you get an 8% damage increase, which is an absolutely huge stat to have, and not a lot of bases have damage increase. Most of them have damage decrease. So being that this has that, that's what makes this slot into number 4. Up next, number 3. Number 3 is the VN base. It is the Forerunner and the Guardian. I prefer the Guardian over the two, but they're both very solid in their own rights, and together they make up the third best army base, in my opinion. So, the VN Guardian has several things that make it stand out. The first one is it does add 10 to your repair factory. That's kind of an important thing when you're fighting. It allows you to have more troops that don't get demoted, or the possibility to demoted, because they don't always be demoted. They aren't always demoted. But when you're equipping this top stat is what makes this base stand out above every other base there is. So this has a decreased damage taken when defending the base of 30%. That is a huge amount of damage to have reduced. Plus, you get an extra 20% army HP bonus. And this increases duration of shield. So you guys know that's not anything to do with attacking or defense. But if you're in a server that's in constant war, it does add 30% to every shield you equip. So a 4-hour shield gets increased by 30%, an 8-hour shield by 30%, a 24-hour shield by 30%. So it makes those last longer, so you get more bang for your buck, you could say. So let's jump over to the other half of this base. And you have the VM4 Runner, which is the transformation of this base. It gives you a 20% attack bonus, another additional 20% attack bonus if you're army, and then you have increased march speed. This is the base that I use pretty much 90% of the time when I'm hitting dark forces, just for that extra march speed, and then the extra attack is very, very good if you're on the offensive in war, and then if you transform it, that is great for the defensive. So that is why this base slots into number 3. This base would be number 1 if the two bases above it didn't have a thing that I stress probably more than anything. And it's not necessarily a big thing for your higher end players, but for your above average and below players, the next bases are definitely the ones for you. Next is number 2. Number 2 is the Poetic and Romantic skins. I only have the Poetic skin picture here because it's the exact same thing as the Romantic, which is just the same thing but gold, so, or yellow, depending on how you see colors. So this base is here for one reason and one reason only, and that is the march size. And I believe these two bases are very underrated for what they're used for. And something you really need to take into consideration when you're choosing which base you want is what it benefit or how it benefits you the most. Having an additional 5 troops gives you all your stats 5 extra times. So it's a multiplying, or I should say, it's a compound multiplier of a base when you're doing multiple march size increase. So that is why the Poetic and Romantic skins are here. Other than that, they have pretty standard holding in stock, but if that march size wasn't there, or if it was only like +1 or +2, this base would not be on the list, and you'd see the VM4 Runner in this spot. So with that, we're actually going to go to a couple of honorable mentions. The first honorable mention is the Predator base. This base is pretty average for your holding in stock bonuses, 10% for attack and HP. It has an additional 10% HP and attack for army if you have it equipped. But what makes this base stand out is it is an attack base. So has a skill where you can gain up to an additional 30% attack bonus. And it works by, for every base you attack and win, so you get a victory, you get an additional 10% attack bonus. So it starts at 0 and you work your way up to 30% for 24 hours. Every time you attack and win, you get an additional 24 hours on that. The downside to this, though, is if you're somebody who attacks and you get attacked a lot in between, so you send your march out and somebody zooms in and kills you, that goes down 10%. So this is not only an increasing stat, it is also a decreasing if you get attacked. The next base is the Arc. So the Arc would be in the top 5 if it wasn't for the Poetic and Romantic having such nice march sizes, and it would be there also if the Shadow Dragon wasn't such a, I say almost essential base to have, just because of the march size and the really, really good, or I shouldn't say the really, really good stats, but the above average stats compared to all the other bases in the game. This base is here because it has a very nice holding in stock where it adds an additional 1% damage decrease. It has your 20% all unit in equipping and 15% army attack and HP bonus. So those are pretty above average stats to begin with. And then it does have a skill. So the Arc base has a 40% buff aura for all your allies, and then it has an additional 20% for you. And you are able to stack this twice. It's a 15-minute buff, but you can only do it once a day. So definitely a useful base, especially if you just need it for the skill. But this video is about equipping and using in every aspect of the base. But this is a very, very well-rounded base also. So with that, let's jump into number 1. The number 1 base is Hyperion. Who would have guessed that the most expensive base in the game is also the number 1 base in the game? So this base has probably one of the best holding in stock bonuses to begin with 15% attack and HP bonus. You also get an additional 10% for equipping it for attack and HP, a 25% march speed, which is huge when you're trying to fight and attack and get back to your base as fast as possible. And then the topping on the cake is the march size. That is a +6 march size. The only thing that is a greater march size than that is the Acadia base, which has a +10 skill, but nothing that is a permanent +6 march size if you have this equipped. If you are trying to be one of the top players in the game and you're fighting anybody, you need to have this base so you can have it equipped. Currently in the game, I don't see anything taking this over. And that's just kind of how it's going to be for a while. So with that, I hope you all enjoyed the countdown. Let me know if you guys enjoy seeing these this way, or if you just want me to kind of rattle through them in a kind of more monotone way. So with that, remember to like and subscribe if you enjoy the content, and see ya.